Recording in progress.
All right. All right. So will it be recording from now forward?
Oh yeah, but Nicole's gonna edit this anyway.
And you can restart it as well.
Okay.
We're good. Trying to get organized here. Can everybody see the screen?
Yep.
Good stuff. Usually what we do, we go around and everybody would introduce themselves and what they do and what their business is. If we could just do that in the chat tonight, we're going to try to keep this on track. We do have quite a few speakers to get through. So yeah, if everybody wants to put in their chats a little bit about themselves and what their company is and what they do, that would be great. And yeah, we'll get started. So Kathy, if you want to work the slides. So today we have a keynote speaker, James Smallwood, an IT professional. We also have Kim Clark from RT07, Jillian Fairley, Small Business Enterprise Center, and myself, Alta Vista Planning Partners. I will be talking about the benefits that are available to all the members. And then afterwards, we have the announcements and closing remarks, some things to talk about the upcoming events and business, women's in business nominations as well. So we'll get right into it. If you could change the slide. So James Smallwood is a local IT professional who through his company GMS IT provides IT management services for small and medium-sized businesses. James works with his clients on an ongoing basis to provide ongoing IT support, consultation, project management, and making sure all of the right IT boxes are checked. Being in a pandemic, and I know myself, I work from home out of my home office. Cybersecurity is very important these days. So James is going to talk about some of the things that he does and his business does that can help protect you in your business. So go ahead, James.
All right, excellent. Thank you very much. So I should be able to share my presentation here.
I'll stop mine.
Okay, is everybody able to see that slide there?
Yep.
Excellent. Okay, so know your resources, cybersecurity resources for small and medium businesses. So I will talk a little bit about what my company actually does, but what I really want to do is provide you with a number of actionable resources that you can actually put into place for your business. And these resources are valid for a solopreneur right up to larger teams that want to make sure that their businesses are as secure as possible online. And especially, as Rob was saying, in today's climate with COVID-19, there's certainly some unique factors of COVID that have sort of influenced cybersecurity and changed things just a little bit. Okay, so let's go ahead and just dive right in here. So first of all, I just want to touch on why strong cybersecurity is becoming increasingly important for businesses. I think at this point, most people or most business owners accept that cybersecurity is important. It's something important to take into consideration. But COVID-19 has forced many businesses to adapt and increase their use of technology. So things have changed a little bit in that regard, that in the sense that businesses are increasingly reliant on technology to operate. So there is an increased reliance on tech, and therefore there's also an increased exposure for businesses now, the more reliant they are on tech, but also because they have individuals working from home or working remotely. That's actually introduced a few new novel cybersecurity concerns that are important to address. And just a statistic here from a UN report: malicious emails increased by over 600% during the pandemic. So clearly the bad guys have caught on to the fact that many individuals are now working from home and living in email mailboxes all day. And so just an interesting statistic there that sort of highlights the fact that COVID-19 has increased the need for strong cybersecurity among businesses. There's also very easy money to be made in attacking small and medium-sized businesses. So it used to be that if you were a malicious actor, you would want to target a large company to try and maximize your return on your investment for your efforts. However, some things have kind of changed here. Business size does not actually matter so much anymore, and we're seeing a lot of malicious actors targeting small and medium-sized businesses. 41% of businesses that have suffered a cyber attack report it cost them at least $100,000. And a large portion of that generally is the attackers themselves, either installing ransomware and holding a computer or data for ransom for a payment, or it's siphoning off information and perhaps essentially extorting the business into paying to get that information back or to secure that information again. It's easier than ever for attackers to do this now. So on the dark web, which is a real thing, there are actually services available now where common everyday criminals can actually pay a monthly fee, just like you pay for Netflix, to get access to what's called ransomware as a service. So the super bad guys have made it really easy for the everyday bad guys to target many different businesses at volume. And so therefore, it's now more cost effective for the bad guys to target small businesses. And just a final statistic here, the average small business ransomware payment is approximately $5,900 US dollars or 7,500 Canadian dollars. And that's the average payment. So although in some cases the payment might be as low as $500 to get your information back, it could be as high as $500,000 or even more than that. I think there was a record set recently for a ransom payment of $40 million by a larger company. So there is money to be made here, and even at the small business level. So just because you're a small business, that's not to say you won't be a target for the bad guys. And finally, another reason why it's increasingly important to look out for your business's cybersecurity. Cybersecurity incidents can result in significant unforeseen costs, not just the immediate costs. So business downtime costs or costs related to business downtime have actually increased about 200% year over year. Again, as businesses become more reliant on technology and not incurring downtime. And ransomware attacks in particular cause an average of 19 days of downtime for each affected business. And so if you think about your business and you think about, can I really be out of business for 19 days? I mean, most businesses I know would certainly struggle to be down for 19 days. So enough of the importance of cybersecurity. I'm sure everybody's very much in agreement that cybersecurity is important in today's day and age. And I by no means want to scare you, but more just reinforce the importance of strong cybersecurity, and increasingly so. So now on to the good stuff. So these are all resources. I want to touch on 7 key IT resources that can help your business be more secure online. And as mentioned before, these resources are, for the most part, easy to implement on your own and can be implemented from small businesses right up to larger size businesses. So I'm just going to sort of dive right in. I'm going to touch on each of these. Number one is using a password management app or a password manager. So these apps that store all of your passwords for you and then make it really easy for you to use your passwords when you need them or retrieve them. So strong, unique passwords are still super important in today's day and age. I mean, in fact, more so than ever, it's important to have not only a strong, complex password for each website or app or service that you log into, but also to make sure that the passwords are unique. So you want to make sure that you're not using the same password you use for Facebook as your online banking, for example. That way, if somebody compromises your Facebook account, they can't get into your online banking and do much more damage. So that's still very important. However, strong and unique passwords are also super hard to remember. And I totally get this. It's one of the chief complaints I hear from clients is, not another password to remember. Out comes the book and they write it down. And, so password management apps help address this. They make it really easy to store your passwords, really easy to retrieve your passwords, and therefore it makes using strong and unique passwords, different passwords for each website, much easier to accomplish. So some examples would be if you're ever using your web browser, like Google Chrome, for example, and it asks you in the top right corner and it says, would you like to save this password? That's actually an example of a password manager. Google Chrome has it built in. All the big web browsers do. And then maybe if you're an Apple user, you're familiar with Apple Keychain. That's also a great option. And then my personal favorite is LastPass, as in the last password you're ever going to need to remember. And basically, all of these function similarly, but Apple Keychain and LastPass as examples work across all of your devices. So it makes it a lot easier to save a password on your computer and then use the password on your smartphone. So those are just some examples of different password manager apps that are out there. There's lots of them, definitely worth Googling. Some antivirus software even includes them. Okay, so password management apps, that's number one. Number two, multi-factor authentication. And it sounds fancy, but what multi-factor authentication, all it really is when you go to sign into a website or an app or an online service, it's going to ask you for some other form of authentication beyond just your password. So you're going to type in your password, and then it's going to ask you for something else. And the most common is, we just sent you a text message with a code. Could you please input the code to sign into your account? So multi-factor authentication is for the most part easy to set up and use, and drastically increases your online security. So for any important online resources you use for your business, I highly recommend turning on multi-factor authentication if possible. So multi-factor authentication is your second line of defense. If your password is compromised, even if you have a super strong, unique password, if it's leaked out onto the dark web on some list or something like that, you can basically multi-factor authentication means the bad guy would have to have more than just your password to log into your account. So it's certainly a good thing to have in place because it acts as a second barrier, a second line of defense in the event that somebody's trying to break into one of your accounts. Okay, so that's multi-factor authentication. It's also known as two-factor authentication, 2FA, if you ever see that reference somewhere. Chances are your bank already does this. It probably already asked you for a security question in addition to your password, for example. Antivirus and anti-malware protection. It is absolutely still relevant in today's day and age. I do get asked that, is it still important to have antivirus software on my computer? And the answer is certainly yes. What I recommend for antivirus and anti-malware protection is to use reputable software that's tried and true and has been used by many in the past. And just make sure you get it from a trusted source as well. And what I mean by that is when you go on Google and you just type in antivirus software or something like that, you just want to make sure that you're not clicking, for example, one of the ads at the very top, which may actually take you to a malicious website with less than reputable software for download. So just make sure it's a major antivirus software. Some of these you can still buy off the shelf at Staples, Best Buy, etc. And these are some of my favorites. My personal favorite would be Malwarebytes Anti-Malware and Bitdefender at a close second. They're both extremely good antivirus packages. All four of those are really quite good. And if you're using a modern operating system, such as Windows 10 or 11 on your computer, you're actually going to have Windows Defender built in on your computer. So it's no extra cost. And Windows Defender is actually quite good. It used to not be as effective as the others. Windows Defender, we found in recent testing, has actually been quite effective. So at least you have something already baked into your computer if you're on Windows 10 or 11. And just a quick side note for Mac users, you do still want antivirus. It's a very common misconception that Apple Mac is immune to viruses. It is not. Viruses can certainly infect Apple computers. So definitely worth getting some antivirus protection if you have a Mac as well. Software updates are definitely one of the most overlooked yet most important resources available to your business. And they are one of the most annoying in the sense that, we've all had, the middle of the day, we're working on something and we go to restart our computer for whatever reason, and you get the blue screen with the little circle saying we're installing updates. Well, these updates are crucial to the security of your computer, your smartphone, tablet, any of the line of business software you use in your business. These updates often contain fixes for security vulnerability. So the manufacturers that write the software code have identified an issue in the code that would let a bad guy into your computer potentially, and they've issued a fix. So it's super important to keep everything you can up to date. I recommend just turn on your automatic updates for any of your devices, let them update automatically, make sure you've always got the latest updates installed, and try to install updates as quickly as possible to make sure you shorten the exposure or the amount of time between when a vulnerability is identified and when your device or software has a fix installed for it. That will drastically reduce your potential for attack. So software updates are super important, even though I do understand they can certainly be a little bit annoying. Data backups are one of, by far, the most important resources available to your business. And in general, beyond just cybersecurity threats, data backups are going to save your bacon, if you will, in the event that you truly suffer a cybersecurity incident or something such as a disaster scenario in your business. So they're really your last line of defense. You don't want to have to rely on data backups, kind of like insurance. You don't want to have to use it, but it's really nice that it's there in the event that you do need to use it. So data backups are your last line of defense, making sure your data is stored somewhere safe. They're, for the most part, pretty easy to set up. Just some examples up on the screen. Microsoft OneDrive on a Windows computer. If you sign in and you set up backup on OneDrive, it'll back up all of your files to the cloud, to OneDrive, and keep them safe there. You've got Apple's iCloud backup for Apple devices. And then you also have Google Drive backup for Android devices, for example. So for Google phones and Google devices. So all three of those are fairly easy to get set up, and they will essentially back up all of your information and keep it safe in the event that you actually need it. Now, just a quick tip here. When you're backing up data, you should try as best as possible to follow the 3-2-1 rule. And what this rule dictates is that you should have 3 copies of your data at all times. So you want essentially 3 different copies of your data. You want those copies of data to be stored on at least 2 different types of media. So an example of this would be maybe you save your files to like a USB stick once a week. That's great. But you also want to make sure you have them saved to the cloud, for example. That would be a second form of media. So you just want to make sure you've got them in different places, in other words. And then that leads to number 1, which is you want 1 copy of your backups or your data off-site, away from your business, so that if something happened, something terrible happened to your business, heaven forbid, you would have a backup of all of your business's data just in case something terrible happens. So that's the 3-2-1 rule: 3 copies, 2 different type of media, one offsite backup. And final point on backups, you do want to check and just make sure that they are backing up the data you think they're backing up, and make sure that if you go to use the backup and you try to open a file stored in the backup, for example, that it's actually going to work, because too many times have I come into a business and we've had to look at their backups and determined that although it looks like they're working, they're maybe not backing up all of the business's data, or they're not even working at all, even though they look like they're working. So you just want to make sure your backups are actually working for you. So moving on to one of the best cybersecurity resources for any business, this would be cybersecurity training. So cybersecurity training helps reinforce cybersecurity best practices. It helps you and your team build awareness around the different threats that exist out there and how to mitigate the risks posed by these threats. And there are many free as well as paid resources available in the way of cybersecurity training. So what I'm going to do for you right now is I'm just going to quickly run through a super basic bonus cybersecurity training session here. What we're going to talk about is how to spot a phishing email, text, or website. So I'm just going to give you some general tips on this. This is probably one of the most important takeaways from cybersecurity training that you'll get is how to spot these malicious emails, texts, or websites. So first of all, look at the email's sender address. Who sent you the email? Because if your bank is sending you an email, it's likely not going to come from a gmail.com email address. Okay. So definitely check the email sender address to make sure it looks like it's actually a legitimate email address owned by that company. In the email itself, look for suspicious language, such as bad grammar or out of place language, a sense of urgency, because every phishing email or text or website is going to try to get you to take some sort of action. So you're going to want to make sure that you're going to want to check for a sense of urgency. Generally, they'll try and get you to do something quickly or make you afraid that something bad will happen if you don't do it. Look for links, of course, if you're not expecting a link in an email. So if you didn't just reset a password and you're looking for a reset password link or something like that, definitely be extremely wary of links and of course, attachments as well. Certainly from email senders that you weren't expecting or emails you weren't expecting, watch out for attachments. But even from people you know, watch out if you get an attachment out of the blue, especially with suspicious language or urgency. One of the most common examples is, hey, this invoice is overdue, please pay now. And they've attached an attachment and it's from somebody you know, maybe a vendor you work with, but they don't say what the invoice is about. They never gave you a heads up they were going to send you an invoice. You don't remember making an order through this company, and out of nowhere, they're asking you to open this invoice in the form of an attachment. That would be a highly suspicious email. So I'd be very wary of that. Quick point, your bank will never ask you for your PIN, your online banking password, any of those types of credentials. Your bank is never going to ask for that information, your SIN number, etc. So that's a huge red flag if you get something pretending to be your bank asking you for that. If you're on a particular website and you're wondering if it's a legitimate website, just make sure that the website address is legitimate. So if you're looking to go, if you're looking for Microsoft tech support, for example, make sure you're actually on Microsoft.com, not Microsoft tech support 247, whatever.com, right? That's probably not Microsoft, and they're probably going to try and scam you out of a few dollars. So that takes me back to the look at the Google ads, or just make sure you're not clicking a Google ad, right? Microsoft tech support, and the first link is an ad. Be careful. Try and find the actual Microsoft website to go to. As an example. When in doubt, the best thing you can do is just seek out a publicly available phone number for whichever organization or company has attempted to perhaps contact you, and just make sure you're, again, on a legitimate website finding that 1-800 number. Don't just Google the 1-800 number they might put at the bottom of a suspicious email, because if you Google that phone number, they may have actually set up a website, a fake website, pretending to be that company using a fake phone number. So what I would do, for example, again, maybe Microsoft tech support, I would actually go to Microsoft.com, look around their website and find a 1-800 number that way. So just when in doubt, call and confirm that they actually are trying to reach out to you, as opposed to taking action on the suspicious text or email. And this works for phone calls too. I'm sure by now everybody's received at least one fake CRA phone call. This is what's called phishing or voice phishing. And it's the same principles apply. Be extremely wary of somebody calling you out of the blue when you're not expecting it, especially when they want you to take some sort of action. And when in doubt, just say, okay, thank you. I'm going to call back and confirm, hang up the phone, find the publicly available number for example, the CRA, call the CRA and say, hey, I just got a call from an agent. They said their name was so-and-so. Can I be reconnected with that agent? And they can reconnect you if that was in fact a legitimate CRA agent. And the CRA does phone businesses, so it's a valid, you may get a valid call from the CRA, but I would still recommend absolutely confirming it's the CRA you're speaking with. So those are just some general tips. Here's a real quick example we can run through. This is a great example of a phishing email. Right at the top, you can see it uses an unofficial email address here. This is supposed to be from Facebook, and yet the email domain name address up here is this probably a company, amendus.co.uk. This is clearly not Facebook. This is probably a company who had their email account hacked, and it's now sending out malicious emails. So that's one of your first clues there, is a Facebook email is not going to come from this company. Number two, yes, this was identified as spam by Gmail. So, I mean, that's a pretty big red flag right there, but these messages aren't always caught by the spam filters. So that is an indication, though, if Google says it's spam, it's probably spam. Down here, we can see this is not even my name. This was sent to my inbox, and this is, I'm not even 100% sure how to pronounce it. That's not my name. So wrong name. There is a sense of urgency. Because they are stating that a user just logged into my Facebook account from a new device. And I'm thinking, uh-oh, that's not me. I didn't just log into Facebook, and that's not my device. So maybe somebody's trying to hack my Facebook account. Well, in all reality, if you were to fall for the sense of urgency and use the malicious link down here to report to the user, that would likely take you to a page that's going to ask you for your Facebook password. And now your Facebook account is going to be hacked. Okay. Or they're going to use your credentials for all sorts of other things. So those are all good indicators. There's a tiny bit of poor grammar in this one, but I actually wanted to point out how sophisticated the grammar and everything else about this email looks, because the phishing emails that we're seeing these days are becoming harder and harder to spot. So in this case, just a little bit of a weird grammar, a new device, iPhone 11 Pro. Normally it wouldn't be stated like that. So that's set off a little bit of a red flag there too. And finally, I just want to give you an example of a phishing text message. Many of you may have actually received this message. I believe the CRA has actually caught on to this one at this point. So it purports to be from Interact, and it says, the Canadian COVID Support Fund has sent you money. So right off the bat, we've got urgency and importance, because money tends to get the blood racing a little bit, gets the heart pumping, and so money's always a good motivator for people. So right there, we've got a sense of urgency or importance to the message. We've got relevance in this one because it's related to COVID. And this is what I mean about cybersecurity and some considerations. Cyber attackers or malicious actors will actually take advantage of current situations. So this one has relevance. It has a malicious link. Again, it's trying to get you to take some sort of action. And in most cases, if you were to actually receive a text message from Interact, it would likely say something like, you received an e-transfer, please sign into your online banking. It wouldn't have a link for you to click on or anything from the text message. So that's a big red flag that they're trying to get you to take some action there. And then, of course, it's a bogus website domain name, and it may be hard to tell a lot of the time. So, but this one I can tell you is not actually Interact that sent this. This is somebody else's website, and most certainly a malicious one. So that's just a good example there of a phishing text message and how it employs all of the same types of tactics as a phishing email. So finally, and this is our last cybersecurity resource that I'm going to touch on today, cybersecurity insurance. So many insurance providers now have a cybersecurity option, or essentially something you can, or a clause that can be added to your policy that can actually help your business recover in the event that you suffer a cybersecurity incident. So there's a list on the screen there of various things that cybersecurity insurance can cover. And I absolutely recommend, especially in today's day and age, that every business carry some form of, not just insurance, of course, but some form of cybersecurity insurance. So those are the types of things that can be covered, but there are specific requirements that must be met in order to qualify for cybersecurity insurance. They just the insurers want to make sure that certain security controls and policies and procedures are in place. So you'd want to check with your policy provider or your broker or whomever, and just make sure that you can meet the requirements to qualify for cybersecurity insurance. But cybersecurity insurance is absolutely, in my opinion, a critical resource in today's day and age for just about any business. And just a few additional resources for everybody up here on the screen. These are all government-based resources. The first two are from our Canadian government. The second two are from our neighbors down south. So Canadian Centre for Cybersecurity has a number of different resources there available for both the general population and businesses. The Canadian government also runs the Get Cyber Safe campaign, which you can visit there at getcybersafe.gc.ca. And then the CISA or CISA in the States, they offer the Cybersecurity Awareness Month resources. If you just Google that, if you Google CISA Cybersecurity Awareness Month, you'll find those resources. And also the National Institute of Science and Technology offers the Small Business Cybersecurity Corner, which is specifically geared for small businesses. And I found all these resources have great information and tips and tricks about how to stay more secure or be more secure as a business in today's landscape. Also, if YouTube has a lot of great free cybersecurity awareness training content or cybersecurity content for business owners. So that's an example of another free resource. And then there's some great paid resources out there, such as through LinkedIn Learning, for example. There are courses on LinkedIn Learning, as an example, that also talk about cybersecurity awareness. So that's essentially my presentation. What I'll wrap up by addressing is that for larger businesses and teams, you can implement a lot of this from sort of a company-wide approach. So sort of at the top, from the top down. So you can make sure a lot of these controls and resources are put in place at a company-wide level. That's the type of thing that my company helps other companies do. From an IT management standpoint. So essentially, that's one of the core components of IT that we look after is cybersecurity and making sure all the right cybersecurity controls are in place. For larger teams and businesses, one of some things that weren't necessarily addressed, using enterprise grade network equipment that's up to date, using centrally monitored antivirus, anti-malware protection, centrally monitored and verified backups, for example. So for larger businesses and larger teams, there are ways to implement everything that was discussed today and a few other things that are worth considering implementing from sort of the company-wide level as well. But all the things we touched on today, you can go ahead and implement yourself. I would like to thank you all for your time today. It was a great honor to be asked to speak today, and I was very excited, and I'm happy to have shared all these cybersecurity resources with you.
Awesome. Thanks for your time, James. That's great knowledge on cybersecurity. I know when I first got into my business, I downloaded an app called Secure Safe, and it just puts all your passwords, and it generates your passwords for you. It makes it super complex. So you feel safe every time I have so many different programs I use with different insurance companies that I have to put in a different password. And it's super simple. It reads right off my face recognition. And then I just pick the password, and then I can change the passwords as well, and regenerate new passwords. So that's a great tip. So yeah, thank you for sharing all that information with us. We do have a question in the chat from Kim Clark. She's asked, how can you link the passwords across different devices?
Excellent question. So that's where using a third-party password manager might be best. If you use an app like LastPass, for example, you can sign into the app on both your smartphone, your tablet, as well as your laptop or your desktop computer, and all of your passwords will be synchronized across all of your different devices, and you'll be able to retrieve them from all of your different devices. So it helps you make sure that all of your passwords are accessible from anywhere. Apple Keychain helps achieve this in the Apple ecosystem. For Windows and for Google users, I tend to recommend LastPass. LastPass, there is a cost for that plan that allows you to synchronize across devices, but last I checked, it's very reasonably priced. It's a very low payment per year for LastPass. So that would be my advice there.
Thank you. I'm constantly losing my passwords.
You're not alone.
Well, nobody wants to use the same password for everything, like you said, for Facebook, for your online banking, for stuff like that. You always want to switch it up just in case one of them does get compromised. You don't want to have access to everything. I know it's so easy to have the same password for everything, but yeah, good stuff. Well, thank you for your time, James. That's great.
Thank you.
Next, we have Kim Clark. So Kim has been with the Bruce Gray Simcoe RT07 since April of 2015 and previously headed up the tourism division at the country of Bruce. Throughout the span of her career, she has been leading, coaching, and elbows deep in product and experience development. Seeing the big picture, collaborating with others, and telling your story are a few of Kim's main philosophies when it comes to experience development. She has worked on large award-nominated products like the Golf in Ontario that spans across most of the province and has helped small businesses develop their own experience that will help add to their bottom line. Her role as a manager stakeholder relations has her working with other regional tourism organizations, municipalities, destination marketing organizations, and individual business to create amazing things for people to do when they travel. She is a big advocate for data-driven decisions. Kim brings a background in business administration and a flair for creative marketing. She is passionate about creating amazing things to do in the Bruce Gray Simcoe. So with further ado, Kim Clark.
Thanks, Rob. I didn't prepare a big fancy PowerPoint like James did, but I just thought I would spend some time and talk about some of the programs and supports that we have available at the RTO. And for those of you who don't know, I think most of you should, but just a little bit of background. The Regional Tourism Organization, there are 13 of them across Ontario. So we're independent non-for-profits that are fully funded through the Ministry of Heritage, Sport, Tourism and Culture Industries. And we're mandated to work on and help develop and manage tourism across Bruce Gray and Simcoe counties, and we work in 4 main pillars. So we have marketing, we have workforce development, investment attraction, and product development. So I work within the product development and workforce development pillars. And Jillian's going to talk about one of our programs that we are fund jointly and run jointly with her organization, the T3 project. But we have many other programs that are available to tourism businesses across Wasaga that, we're happy to sort of help. And part of, what our role is, to provide guidance. So, we're a small team of 7. However, we are always encouraging people to just pick up the phone and, give us a call if you have any questions about potential programs or funding opportunities or how we can help you, maybe even make connections across the industry. So the first thing I just want to review is, so we run in the provincial fiscal year. So our programs for 2021-22 are mostly full. We have a couple of them open, including $1,000 reimbursement for PPE expenses. So Alex Hogan runs that program. And really, you just send in your receipts for your PPE expenses up to $1,000, and we'll cut you a check. The second one is a really amazing customer service training program. It's totally online, and what we've realized is time is probably the most valuable commodity available to, or I shouldn't say commodity, most valuable resource available to business owners these days. And but training is really critical to try to attract new staff. So we've licensed a program called TIPSY, which is TYPSY, and it's based on micro-learning. So once you've got an activation code from us, we'll pay for you to log into this website. And there are thousands of training courses available to you. It looks like it's really, for hospitality and tourism, so restaurants and hotels. However, there's so much available for leadership and management, human resources that you can access. So I'm working my way through, and the course that I'm on right now is recruitment and onboarding. So within that course, there are 13 different, so there's usually, 10 to 13 short videos that you can watch from an app on your phone. You watch them anywhere. And then once you get to the end, there's a short quiz, and should you pass, you'll receive a certificate. So it's great for your staff, especially if they've got some downtime. They're looking for, something to do, or they're wanting to brush up their skills on customer service, or maybe they're starting to look at a new aspect of your business. So they're helping with HR policies, or they're looking at marketing, or maybe they're dealing with your social media, and they're struggling to know what to do with some of the negative complaints that come in. So the program's fantastic. We will provide it to you and your staff free of charge. And just fill out the form on our website, and we'll send you the activation code, and then just forward it over to your staff, and they can log in whenever they like. And then we are running a series on workforce development. So I thought a lot about, how can we help businesses? What are some of the gaps? Today, we had a really excellent seminar with an EDI consultant. She was actually out of Kingston. But, how can we start to relook at creating safe spaces? How do we look at, equity versus equality, and, trying to increase or, encourage and foster diversity within our teams. So our next series is, website basics with Camp Tech, which is a small business training company out of Toronto. And Avery Schwartz, who's the founder there, she's going to tell us, all about what are some really fundamental questions that we should be asking when looking at finding a new web provider. Things like, what platform will work best for you? What are some of the things that you should expect within your monthly fees? And, what are some really critical elements that you should include within your website, like Google Analytics. And our third workshop is creating diverse and inclusive spaces for the 2S LGBTQ plus market and community. And that is in partnership with the Canadian Gay and Lesbian Chamber of Commerce. And we'll be hosting that on March 24th. So all of our websites and our workshops and logins are available on rto7.ca, which I will put in the chat. I did send Jenny a document that you guys can refer to all of our programs as well. So that's really what we have running right now. As I said, we're waiting on approval of our business plan and our budget for next year. But what we have proposed is really similar to some of the programs that we've offered in advance. So if you're looking at developing a new experience, we have some coaching available and some funding to help get that into market. If you are a festival or a cultural heritage destination, or if you are, a destination retail shop or a restaurant, and you just want to get the word out there about your business, we have a program called our Operations Implementation, which is a 4-week, $1,000 social media advertising campaign that we help to create and deploy on your behalf. And you just have to show, copies of some sort of operational expense of $1,000, which we all know is not difficult. And then we have help for recruitment. So again, we do a lot of marketing work, and we have a really amazing agency that we work with. We found really amazing campaign results through Facebook and Instagram. So our Recruitment Implementation Program, or RIP, will again provide $1,000 or $2,500, depending on the size of your business, to help market job postings that you have available. And actually, we do have some space in that program right now. So if you're hiring for the summer, let us know. And then we're really trying to encourage people to think about operating in a more sustainable way. And we think about sustainability from a 3-pronged approach. So financial sustainability, social, cultural sustainability, and environmental sustainability. So how is it good for your pocketbook? How is it good for your community? And how is it good for the environment? So we have some programs. We're working on a series of training to help look at sustainable development for tourism operators as well. And then all of some of the resources that we have available all the time, there's no deadlines, there's no cost, are things like listings on our brucegraysimco.com website. We have specific pages for festival and event listings, or packages and promotions. You can always tag Bruce Gray Simco, or and use the hashtag Bruce Gray Simco on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We're talking about TikTok, but we're not quite there yet. So we're learning. We have an amazing program that Rob had mentioned in the bio about golf and selling golf packages across the province. So we partner with a couple of different regions around Ontario, and we have a coordinator he actively markets and sells golf packages on our behalf, which is really great. And again, there's no fee or cost to get involved. But not only do we deal with golf courses, but we're also looking for accommodators and suggestions for activities once you're off the golf course as well. So if you know of any golf courses that are interested, please let me know. And then Alex Hogan runs our partnership program, which some of you could be familiar with. This is a program where we do actually require that you spend some cash with us, but often the leverage is really great. So you might put in 1/3 and we'll put in 2/3 to many of our programs. So for communities, we have some really great digital tourism wayfind signage. I think the ones in Collingwood have just gone up. I'm not sure if they're in Wasaga or not. I think we've maybe done a trail. We've got digital advertising. So if $1,000 isn't enough for you, and you want to go bigger, and you want to go on Google Display, and you want to go on YouTube, then we have a digital advertising program available for you. Or if maybe you have like $400 or $500 extra that you want to spend, we have a social media advertising program that can help leverage those costs as well. One of our most popular programs is our video and image production. So we have a contract with a local videographer and a local photographer. So if you're looking for additional assets for your website, for your social media, for ads that you might put in magazines or within guidebooks, sometimes businesses lack really good photography or really good video to help to promote you. So this program again pays 2/3 of the cost of a day-long video shoot or a day-long photography shoot with our two agencies. Our storytelling program will help you find a writer to come in and promote your business and almost do like a fam tour. And, so they'll pay the cost for that person to come in, write the story, and then publish it across the network that they have. And then I know that there are a number of Quebecers that come to the beach. So we have French translation services available if you're interested in that as well. So we can help translate your brochure, your website, or some of the marketing material that you have. And that is it. But as I said, we do have, we're here to kind of help support. I always say to people, if you have a question, if you're looking for connections, or you just want somebody to bounce ideas off of, our staff are really great for that. So, I encourage you to just pick up the phone and call, and we will, if we don't know the answer, then we'll try to find somebody who does. Any questions? That was a lot.
That was great, Kim. Does anybody have any questions for Kim? Good stuff. Well, definitely feel free to reach out to her for any more information. There was a question I didn't miss with James. Colleen raised a really good point about the cybersecurity. So how do they know that the password apps are safe? And what if one of these password apps was compromised?
It's a great question. So I'll address the second part first. Most password management apps, what they have is essentially a type of encryption where the data, so your passwords, when stored on their servers, is encrypted, as well as when it's being used, so transferred over the internet to your computer to be used. It's all encrypted, and they don't even have the encryption key. So the encryption key is unique to your to your computer. So it's tough to explain without getting into too many technical details, but essentially they don't have a way of reading your passwords even at their company. So like if you forgot your master password, they wouldn't really be able to help you. They would just kind of say, that's it, because we can't, like, they'll help you recover your account. They'll do some checks and balances to make sure you are who you say you are before they help you recover, but they can't actually unencrypt your password. So that's how most of them will be designed. In terms of reputable password managers, it's kind of like almost anything else. You want to try and seek out vendors or providers that have been in business for a number of years, have been tried and vetted by numerous others. Maybe they've been in media publications, like major news publications talking about them, major reviews, things like that. YouTube and other review sites like that are generally a pretty good place to find information to just get an idea of how long has it been around? Does it seem legitimate? Are a lot of people actually using it? And what company stands behind the product as well. So some of the new startups, yeah, they might have a little bit of a challenge getting traction with building out their user base. But LastPass, for example, is owned by LogMeIn, which is a major company. So they've got a very big brand standing behind the product. So I mentioned some of those antivirus providers. Some of them produce password managers as well. So McAfee, for example, has McAfee TrueKey is their password manager. I believe Norton has Norton Vault or something similar as well. So you can't really go wrong. Again, it's just like antivirus software. You wouldn't want to download something you've never heard of, but if you can find enough good information about it online and it seems relatively vetted. And then, of course, another resource would be your IT professional. So whoever you work with, or even if you ask the gentleman and the ladies at Staples or Best Buy or anything like that, they can generally steer you in the right direction, or they may even have a product on the shelf. But also, if you do work with an IT professional, then certainly that's the type of advice they can provide. My company, for example, we actually sell, or like we bundle a password management application with one of our packages, and so we can certainly recommend one, or we in some cases actually provide a password management platform for the entire company to use. So yeah, that'd be my advice there is just do your research essentially and just make sure that it seems like it's been used by a number of individuals, and check out the company that stands behind the product as well.
That's good. Thank you very, very much for that. So nothing under a 3-star rating on Google. Do not.
Yeah, maybe avoid that.
Yeah, good stuff. Thank you very much. So we're going to keep moving here. Our next guest speaker is Jillian Fairley. So Jillian is the General Manager of Community Future South Georgian Bay, a federally funded non-for-profit organization dedicated to the advancement and growth of businesses in the region. Jillian has assisted businesses in the community for over 10 years, providing mentoring, resources, advice, and support during all phases of businesses startup, development, and growth. She has also participated in numerous economic development initiatives and have supported community and business grow. Jillian has extensive product management, economic development, and management consulting experience. She has worked with organizations throughout the United States, as well as the UK, Germany, and Sweden. Jillian has consulted for the public and private sectors, including the automotive, manufacturing, financial services, insurance, and real estate sectors. She has a passion for supporting small businesses and community development. So Jillian, you're on the floor.
Great, thank you for having me. I do have a short presentation to share, so I can share my screen when that's available. And just to mention, so I used to be the manager of the Small Business Enterprise Center, and I work quite closely with the current manager, Tim, but our organization is actually Community Future South Georgian Bay. So I do have a brief presentation. I'll just bring that up now. Great, can everyone see my screen? Excellent. So I'll just run through a little bit of a background in terms of our organization and what we do. So we are part of the Community Futures program. So Community Futures offices are located across Canada, and we are only a rural program. So we only support rural businesses. And we've been serving the community here in South Georgian Bay for over 35 years. So we started when the shipyards closed and to help individuals who were laid off transition to entrepreneurship, and have been going strong ever since. We are a not-for-profit, and we're governed by an independent board of directors. And our board members are fantastic individuals who are also entrepreneurs themselves or who are professionals from the communities we serve. And we are funded through FedDev. I'm not sure if you've had any interactions with FedDev, but that is our funder. And we support 13 municipalities, so quite a big catchment area. We cover, Wasaga Beach all the way over to Meaford, and then down through Clearview and all of Dufferin County as well. So we have a fairly large catchment area we support. I'm happy to work with all the businesses in that area. And then often we have shared boundaries. So sometimes we'll do joint partnerships with the other Community Futures offices that we touch boundaries with. And we're a very sort of collaborative network of Community Futures offices. So our services are really threefold. We provide financial assistance in the form of loans, and we typically provide loans to entrepreneurs who may not be able to qualify for additional financing. It's not always the case. Sometimes businesses come to us because we have really great wraparound services to support them as they grow or start their business. But usually entrepreneurs come to us first, and then we help them get bankable so they can access other sources of financing. We also offer business counseling. We have a great in-house counseling, like we're experts in helping businesses with their cash flows and forecasting, and then also pull on resources to help with that as well, such as local accountants in the area. And then, of course, we have a mentoring program we run, which is also part of our counseling program. We're also great connectors into the community. So if you have a question that we can't answer, we have a really, really strong entrepreneurship ecosystem in South Georgian Bay. And we'll connect you to, could be the Small Business Enterprise Center if you're looking at the Digital Main Street program, or the Starter Company program, or resources such as what RTO7s provide, just like what Kim mentioned. So we can connect entrepreneurs to a bunch of other resources if we don't offer those ourselves. And then we also offer community economic development projects. So right now we're working on building an accelerator here in South Georgian Bay. So that's a pretty exciting community economic development project. And then, of course, the T3 program, which I'll talk about a little bit later, is also a community economic development program, but also touches business mentoring as well. So that's kind of what we do as part of our services. So I'll talk briefly just about our loan program. So we have business loans of up to $300,000 that we can offer as part of our service offering. And that's for new or existing businesses. But we can also tap into pooled funds for larger loans, which can go up to $600,000. So that's our lending limit. And then we also partner with organizations like the Business Development Bank of Canada. We can also partner with financial institutions. So for entrepreneurs that need a bit more capital, then we've done lots of partnership deals as well. And we have a in-house business improvement loan up to $30,000, and that lots of businesses have taken advantage of that for smaller purchases or to help them with their cash flow. And the loans can go towards, startup maintenance. Sometimes entrepreneurs have a special piece of equipment that they need to purchase, and also to get ready for an upcoming season. So we just help the business finance the launch of a new product they're launching this season. So like a huge range. We don't specialize in any specific industry. We support entrepreneurs across all industries and sectors. And so I want to talk briefly about the T3 Accelerator Program as well. And I know Kim mentioned this. So we partnered with RTO7 to launch a coaching program specifically for tourism businesses. So we did a sort of business plan, a review of what was available for tourism businesses. I think it was a couple of years ago. And through that research, it was done through focus groups and consultations with tourism operators. What we discovered is that tourism businesses really wanted a high-touch program. They wanted to get access to resources, support, very specific to their business and when they needed it. So we launched the T3 Accelerator Program, and we have over 40 partners participating in this program across Bruce Grey and Simcoe County. So it's a great program for tourism operators and tourism businesses who want to access expert advice. And we have coaches specializing in specific sectors of business or segments of business like finance and HR and marketing. We also have some great coaches who are on board who've extensive knowledge in tourism, product development. Kim does some coaching around experience development. So we have a really well-rounded coaching team that provides support. And when a business comes into the program, they can access all of those coaches. It's free to participate. The fees have been waived, the COVID situation, but you can join and participate for the life of your business. So as long as you need coaching, you can participate in the program. So it's been a really great program. We've got some excellent success, and once again, a broad range of businesses that have chosen to participate, right from sort of solopreneurs all the way up to larger businesses. So if you're interested in that program, you can visit the RTO7 website. And then also wanted to mention that we're really excited. We're going to be releasing a bunch of podcasts, 20 podcasts in total. They're going to be released starting February 7th, one a week, and they're educational in nature. And they're going to cover all aspects of running a tourism business. And you get to hear right from the experts. They're short podcasts, about 10 or 15 minutes in length. So stay tuned for additional updates on that. Those should be really exciting, and we're excited to launch them. Our organization also runs a Power Up program. It's very similar to T3. The main difference is it's not specifically for tourism businesses. It's for businesses that operate in other sectors. And we have coaches that cross both T3 and Power Up to help. With Power Up, you need to be in business for at least a year. And it covers a huge range of expert advice, once again, similar to the T3 program. If you want to increase productivity, profitability, if you're tackling a specific challenge, or you want to take advantage of an opportunity, then we have coaches available to help you take advantage of those opportunities to overcome those challenges. And so we've also, once again, we've been running a mentoring program for a number of years in terms of group mentoring, but with COVID, that doesn't really allow that to happen. And also we found similar when we did the research with T3, that businesses really want sort of coaching when they need it for their business, and Power Up is structured very similarly. We also run a program called BizLink, and BizLink is a program that supports businesses who are looking to transition, so succession on the business, and it can be the buyer or the seller. So we have a unique approach to this program where we partnered with successionmatching.com. And Succession Matching is a website. It's like a dating service for buyers and sellers for business. And it, with the listing, that if you're interested in selling your business, for example, you can put up a listing, but if you're a buyer, you can also register and search for business opportunities. And it comes with videos and other resources to help you with that succession process. And then, of course, our office can help with that as well. So we have access to business valuators, to coaches who can help with the transition process. And of course, we can assist with financing for a business buyer, and we have done that. The great thing about the partnership with succession matching is it's an expensive program typically to participate in. It's a great resource, but for a business listing, it can be expensive to participate. And with our partnership, we've actually obtained a number of coupon codes. So you can participate in that program for a really small fee, only $25 through our program. So it's an excellent service. Succession matching, once again, is a Canadian-wide program. Started with helping farmers with their succession, and it's now covered a huge range of businesses as well as buyers that are international. So they've attracted quite an audience of international buyers as well. So it's a great program. Very happy to offer BizLink in our community. And just a couple other resources I wanted to mention. If any business owners have questions around financing tools that are available to them, we have financing guides available on our website. And we also partnered with the town of Wasaga Beach to produce a home-based business guide for those home-based business owners. So it's got some excellent resources in there about what things you need to think about when you're running a home-based business. So these are just a couple of guides that are sitting out there that are available for you. And that's all that I have. So thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jillian. Does anybody have any questions for Jillian? Okay, moving on. I think I am speaking next, I believe. So I'm just going to share my screen. I'll do my own bio, obviously. Yes, okay. Can everybody see my screen? Good stuff. Okay, so good evening, everyone. Thanks to those who could be on the meeting tonight. Hopefully we can get together in person for these after 5 sooner than later. I know everybody's getting kind of zoomed out. I'll try to make this presentation as quick as possible. I know we're kind of going past our timeline here. My name is Rob Dell, and I'm here to talk about what you have available to you through your local Chamber of Commerce. A little bit about myself. I moved up to Collingwood in February of 2020, just before the pandemic hit, and joined the benefit team at Alta Vista Planning Partners. Our main office is located in Aurelia, and I have been working remotely from my home office here in Collingwood. Here at Alta Vista, our motto is we help business owners take care of their families and their employees. We are the exclusive employee benefit plan advisor for the Wasaga Chamber, which is administered by the Johnson Group. Here at Alta Vista, we partner with 9 local chambers of commerce in total. The ones that I manage are Wasaga, Clearview, Collingwood, and the Blue Mountains. My senior benefit advisor, Aaron Fordham, who is currently on mat leave, manages the other 5 chambers, which include Southern Georgian Bay, Oro-Medonte, Aurelia, Seg Bay, and the Ramera chambers. So what makes the chamber plan so unique and stand out amongst the rest of the other major insurance carriers? The first big advantage is the rate stability. The average Chambers plan increase over the past 10 years has only been 4.4% per year, which is way below industry average. So what's included in a Chambers plan? So the Chamber offers comprehensive benefit coverage options, including life, accidental death, and dismemberment insurance, as well as dependent life insurance. It also provides income protection options such as long-term disability up to age 65, short-term disability, critical illness. It has many health plan options that all include drugs cards for prescription drugs, dental plan options with EDI claiming processing, vision plans, paramedical services as well, such as physiotherapy, massage, chiropractor, acupuncture, and much more. We also have an employee assistance plan, which I will talk about in one of my next slides. There is no minimum group size. All plan options are available for just one person who is a sole proprietor or a contractor, which is great. The Chambers plan offers a guaranteed approval plan for all groups. So even if you have one employee, we have an option that is guaranteed without any medical underwriting. Once you get to 3 employees, all plans are guaranteed with no medical underwriting. The Chamber's plan doesn't discriminate based on what you do for work. There is no industry restrictions. I happen to love this slide here. So fully pooled, the Chamber's employee benefit plan offers a fully pooled option for firms under 10 employees. What that means is that your small business will be put into a pool with over 30,000 small firms like yourself. And what this does is it spreads the risk amongst all the firms across Canada. So no matter how much your employees are using the plan, you will not see annual increases based on your employees' usage, but rather the usage of everybody that's in the pool. So what this does, it helps keep your annual renewals more stable and manageable. The plan runs as a non-for-profit organization, so all the surplus the insurance company makes at the end of the year goes back into the pool to help keep everyone's rates down. The Chamber's plan has many options available to choose from. We can customize a plan that works for you, your team, and your budgets. At the Chamber, our goal is to shop local and support the local businesses. The plan has very fast and accurate payments for your claims. The average turnaround is under 48 hours. So if you do have to pay out of pocket, it's as simple as taking a picture of your receipt, uploading it on your mobile app, and receiving your payment within 48 hours. We also have an option called a healthcare spending account, which adds a level of flexibility for your employees to get the most out of the plan. So it's kind of like a top-up service. Administering the plan is super simple and easy. As a plan administrator, you can receive your billing statements online, enroll your new employees, update their earnings, terminate employees that are no longer there, and calculate payroll deductions. The employees also have online access to their plan information, all their claims, their booklets, and their benefit cards right at their fingertips. This is in the employee assistance program. So for only $4.95 per employee, you can add an employee assistance program, which is an EAP. This gives employees and their families access to 12 hours of face-to-face counseling per year. So if someone is struggling with things like mental illness, such as work-related challenges, addictions, they can access this program to get the help they need. Last year, the Chamber members have access to a new mental health app for free. This app allows employees to discover their level of social connection. So if any of the employees are feeling isolated, dealing with anxiety or loneliness, they can use this app to help keep them on track. And this is available to all members that are on the plan. Another additional service available through the plan is a service called Teledoc. This is pretty much an online physician. So what this service does is puts you in touch with a certified physician over the phone or by video any day of the year, 24 hours a day. During the video or phone call, they can receive a diagnosis, treatment recommendation, and even be prescribed medicine when necessary. The main advantage for this service is if anyone's on the verge of going to a walk-in clinic or the emergency room in the middle of the night with their young ones for non-urgent medical issues, such as like a rash, pink eye, or just cold and flu symptoms, they can call the Teledoc line, and a physician will call them back within the hour. New to the plan last year is a service called Pocket Pills. This service is also included in the plan at no additional cost. And what this is basically an online pharmacy. With Pocket Pills, you can send your prescription drugs right to your house and manage your refills. So the best part about this service, if your employees decide to use this, they will receive an extra 10% off their coinsurance. And it gets delivered right to their front door. So no more standing in lines at pharmacies. Being a small business, the Chamber recognizes that you might not have access to HR resources. So included in the plan, again, is a service called Business Assistance Service, which provides resources to help owners manage their business more efficiently by providing access to legal and accounting advice and specialized HR resources. So employers get up to 9 hours per year to use this service. The Healthy Business Bookmark is a site that is available to the plan administrators to help manage their employees with things like articles, podcasts, checklists, sample documents, guides, and much more. Employees also have access to a wellness site through their plan. So this site provides employees with things that can help them stay on track mentally and physically. Available to the employees, owners, and executives who have been on the Chamber's plan for at least 2 years, the Chamber has a retiree plan that they can transition to if they are retiring. So my mother and father, who are in their 70s and 80s and are retired, are currently being protected through the retiree plan that the Chamber plan offers. We also offer an additional option called Future Step, which is a group retirement savings plan. So it's easy to set up, very easy to administer, and gives your employees one more reason to stick around. Trusted by more than 30,000 small businesses across Canada, this makes the Chamber's employee benefit plan the #1 plan in Canada. So the biggest question on everyone's mind is, how much does the Chamber plan cost? So every firm is different, and we will tailor a plan to meet your employees' needs and your budget. It costs nothing to connect with me and get a free quote. So even if you're not at a point to offer your employees benefits just yet, please connect with me anyway to get an idea on how much it costs and what you'd be looking at in the future. Thank you again for your participation in the Business After 5. And does anybody have any questions for me? Okay, good stuff. So moving on. So the announcements, we have Women in Business nominations up. So please nominate your favorite women in business. Community information guide is also available on the website. I think the emails have come out for that. Upcoming events, we do have the next BA5, which is Waves Marketing and Website Design. And that will be in February, I forget the date. And we're also welcoming Ellen Timms to the team. So yes, the nominations are open. Please submit your nominations using our digital form at wasagachamber.ca. And the 2022 guide is out. So you can download a copy at the Chamber website to share with your customers. Tons of great resources in there. So February 24th is the next BA5, which will be Waves Marketing and Website Design. She's going to talk about the program Canva to help build posters for your websites. We also have Wasaga coming up in the spring, which is a great event. And I think that is it. Thank you everybody for attending and bearing with me while I do my first presentation. A little nervous here, but thanks for everybody that could join tonight. I really do appreciate it. And we hope to see everybody at the next Business After 5 in February.
Great job, Rob.
Thanks, guys.
Great presentations, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Nice to see
thanks for
everybody.
having me.
Thanks, everybody.
All right, guys.
Have a good
Thanks
night.
everybody for coming.
Right.
Thank you. Thank you. Great job, Rob.
Thanks. Yeah, Rob, you
Great
did
job.
you did
All
awesome.
the speakers. You did fantastic.
And
Lots
welcome
of
to Ellen.
information.
Is Ellen on the call tonight with us?
And she's here.
Oh, hey, welcome, Ellen.
Got notes.
Good
Hi,
stuff.
Greg.
If you need anything, feel free to reach out to me for sure.
I will, definitely.
All right.
Yeah, very informative. Thank you so much.
All right, guys. Thanks
All right.
again, James, for
Yeah,
talking.
no, and thank you, Rob. Thank you very much, everybody.
Yeah.
Have a great evening.
Have a good night, guys.
Have a good
The
night.
speakers.
everyone.
Night.
Good night. Well, that was really good. Yeah, and a lot of that.
Stop recording.